Hi, everybody. Super excited today for our session with Toni from Bosch. I wanted to. I'm very pumped to have Toni join us today for an amazing, hopefully, session, giving you insights into general UX trends, but also how an organization like Bosch is betting big on UX in the way they build products and they operate. So I'm Moody. I'm the co-founder of Next. Next is an AI-powered product discovery application that helps organizations drive their product decisions, product rituals, and workflows with customer insights. We help some of the largest and most exciting product-led organizations in the world bring their customers into every decision. And I couldn't be more excited to have Toni from Bosch today to have a fantastic conversation. Toni, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Moody. Hi, nice to meeting you all.
Absolutely, Toni. Really delighted to have you. Can we kick this off, Toni, maybe with a quick introduction of yourself, your background, and also maybe an opening about how UX works at Bosch and what are the ambitions of Bosch bringing more and more and betting more and more on UX in the way you guys operate and build products.
Yeah, sure. I will do this. Yeah. So hello again. My name is Toni. I'm not a typical UX designer, as you may say. I'm more of an engineer, so I have done a lot of automotive stuff, let's say like this. And yeah, since more or less 10 years, I'm in the center department for user experience. And our task here in the center department for user experience at Bosch is to really drive our products and services. So together with our partners in the divisions, we would like to improve the user's experience of our products and services. And we do this because we have a lot of experts in our organization. So we have user researcher, we have UI designer, we have industry designer, service designer. So a lot of experts. And we are basically helping our colleagues in the organization. And Bosch is huge. Maybe if you haven't heard about Bosch, so we have more or less about 400,000 employees. We're doing a lot of products in many areas, like home appliances or automotive services. And in all these areas, we support basically our Bosch colleagues. And especially during COVID time, we realized we have to change our way of working, because I'm pretty sure all of you experienced during COVID time, there was a kind of change in the way of working, more digitized and so on. And we realized during this time, we have to do something here. And then we set up basically our internal strategy and said, okay, we would like to improve the way of working in regard to UX, so more digitization basically. We also realized that we would like to reuse our data more often. I'm pretty sure you can imagine in a big company like Bosch, there's data everywhere related to the user, but we often have some hard times to bring it all together. So we found some, or we were looking for some tools or services which support this. Then we also wanted to remove bottlenecks of our UX experts, because each time people had some question about users, they approached us. And you can imagine we have a limited amount of UX experts in the Bosch organization. This hindered us from speeding up things. And last but not least, and this is always my ambition, I would like to bring the user closer to decision-making processes or points at Bosch. So if we do decision-making right now, we think about the users, but we could do this more often and with more data. And this is basically our way of working right now in regard to UX and also digitization. And Moody, do you see some similar trends in the market? I'm pretty sure you have some more experience when it comes to this.
I mean, Toni, I think that, what we see in the market really second also what you guys are experiencing at Bosch. Obviously, you're absolutely right. I think, COVID and the pandemic really changed something in the way organizations operate. It was kind of a wake-up call. Yeah. Now, I don't know if it was a directional change or was it just like, hey, we haven't revisited our companies maybe for a century. in a profound way, but it did result in quite a few changes, and those changes also then very much apply to UX. I think when I look at, for example, the work we do with organizations, the changes that we see in UX come in maybe in threefold. The first fold is speed. Traditionally UX was this, I would always hear librarian methodology. There was very methodical oriented, and not that methodology is not important. Of course, everything we do needs to be rooted in science and best practices, absolutely. But that doesn't have to come at the cost of speed, especially in a world that is so competitive today. And as you pointed out, the idea that UX and product and everything is now becoming combined, meaning UX is not a standalone function with its own deliverable, but the deliverable of UX plugs into product decision making, other work that we are doing across the organization. Well, other parts of the business are moving much, much faster now. And if we're working at half the speed, I mean, it's just not going to work. Things don't match, things don't click. So I think one of the things that I've seen happen in user research and UX more generally has been this acceleration in terms of work faster, deliver more, be more agile, be more nimble, and bringing essentially, I would say, that revolution that happened in product delivery and engineering almost to UX and research. I would imagine that the second part of this, and I guess they're all somehow related, it's the level of technology that has really come into UX and research. Back in the days, UX and research was a pen and paper business. I mean, because that's how we used to work in the desk at the library. We used to have the flip cards. We would go through in the library to figure out where the book is, which row, which column, which shelf. I mean, that's kind of crazy to think that that's how we could do UX and research in a company, especially in an organization as large as Bosch, with the speed at which your business is changing. I mean, IoT changed your business, mobility, home appliances are changing based on customer needs. Everything is changing so fast. I don't have time to go flip through the cards. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's, I think, where a lot of technology has come into UX and research to speed the whole process up in massive ways. I think the work we are doing together, Toni, really fits into that as well, right? Around bringing AI capabilities and other technology beyond just the broader digitization of the function into there to move much faster. And lastly, I think a comment that you made, which I totally love, and I would love to actually learn a little bit more about how you guys do that at Bosch in a second, is this fact that UX is increasingly becoming integral and integrated into the broader functions of the organization. UX today, and let's maybe drop the buzzword, customer insights, understanding what the customer wants, needs, and aspires to achieve. Those are driving pretty much decisions right across the board. They're driving strategic decisions about go-to-market, marketing, sales, messaging, pricing, packaging. They're driving product decisions about which feature should we build, what product should we develop, which one should we do first, which one should we do second, etc. They're also driving, decisions in other parts of the function as we try to figure out how can we support our customers, how do we make them more successful. It's pretty much across the entire board, where now UX and its role of bringing customer insights into organization is influencing companies. Now, of course, I know, Toni, that Bosch is a product powerhouse. I mean, to think, first an engineering powerhouse, but now transformed into an absolute product powerhouse. How is UX and product kind of like clicking and coming together at Bosch as you guys have been on this journey of changing everything internally?
Yeah, that's a good question, Moody, and actually it's a very complex one. But let me try to answer this with a few words. First of all, let me pick up on speed. So we are Germans, we are not so much with speed, but what we can do is we can do things really thoroughly. So this is basically our benefits or our heritage at Bosch, that we can do things at scale. We can produce a lot of things and so on. But recently, what we have realized is that more and more users and also customers, they expect their devices to behave similar like their, iPhones, smartphones, with touch, with voice control, and so on. So this is what we are seeing, and this is what the market demands as well. And this is not only valid for B2C business like washing machine, drilling machines, e-bikes, and so on, but this is also valid for automotive areas. So even with our customers, we're talking about, can you activate or deactivate a function via voice control in the car and so on. So we have to definitely bring this insight into our development teams, first of all. And then second of all, for us, it's always difficult sometimes, because just imagine, should a drilling machine have, let's say, weekly software updates or even monthly software updates? If you would ask users, I'm pretty sure some would even say, yes, definitely, because my iPhone has weekly software and monthly software updates, sorry, my drilling machine should have as well. For us, it's a business decision. So do we really have to bring in monthly software updates for drilling machines? Is it worth to? And here we really need insights from the markets, from the users, because if it is worth, if we can monetize it, then for sure we would do it right away. If a lot of users are convinced about that, this is something we try to basically incorporate into our daily decision making. This is what I meant before. At the end, if you want to make the decision, you have to have a good product, you have to have a kind of a user base, and you have to have a business case. So you have to monetize your product. And all these three views we bring together at a decision-making point. And the question is, at which maturity are you? In most of the cases, technology is really mature. So we have plenty of engineers sitting there and they're really convinced this is the right product. When you look at the business case, we're also good in selling. We know how the market works and so on. We have a lot of sales guys. But when it comes to user customer insights, it's still a little bit tricky, let's say, like this, who is representing this view in those kind of decision makings. And this is why, for us, it's so important to bring this outside in view, first of all, into our products and very close to the product teams. Because you can imagine if you have a user researcher in the team itself, and there's one user researcher, but you have 100 software engineers sitting at the same table making the decision. This one vote basically is nothing. So we have to bring in more evidences, we as the user experts, into the decision making to convince basically software engineers, project managers, and so on and so forth. So, and this is something we try to do with Next, for example. So with you, Moody's help, and with your great colleagues at Next, because to be frank, so far we haven't done a great evidence-based user insight decision making. We had some ideas, yes. We also tried to make some PowerPoints and so on. But right now with Next, we really see that this can work. So we have a lot of teams who tried already Next in their interviews and so on. And I'm pretty sure we come to this later on when we talk about AI and so on. So quite easily they come to a kind of evidence-based material they can bring to the management, to the decision-making point, to really convince the other side of the insights of users. And this is something we have to do in future, because I'm very convinced, and you as well, I guess, Moody, that the market is even changing faster, that the demands from the users will change even faster. So now, with all these trends, I don't know, TikTok and so on and so forth, so people tend to adopt those trends in the market, and they expect this from your products as well. And I don't know, coming back to this example of the drilling machine, to be honest, we have discussed about this already back and forth, but so far for us, there is no real decision point. So we have to collect more data, to really see whether there is a good business case on this. So it's an ongoing process, basically. And do you see some similar, maybe fun projects or experience in the market, Moody, when it comes to product and UX?
Yeah, I mean, Tony, picking up on the point you raised a little bit earlier on around, what is, how we make decisions about products, right? I think you pointed out that you have the engineering aspect of it, which is, can we do it, right? I mean, it's really can we have the brain power capability to build things? And then should we do it? Being maybe more on the business side, right? Hey, is this an economical thing? Would it contribute to the business, etc.? But this idea of bringing, none of those really are contributors to the success of any product. Right? I was reading some recent research that said that 50% of what product teams produce is what they call product waste. Amazingly engineered capabilities, fantastically built, ingenious, that no customer wants. That doesn't solve a customer problem, that doesn't contribute to developing the business, right? And I think this comes back to this understanding this, that the cornerstone of even thinking about can we and should we and is it viable or not viable or whatever, is there even somebody who has this problem, and do they actually want this problem solved in a way that they would want to spend money for it? Just the basics of the basics, right? And I think when you cut, and when you boil it down to stuff like that, I think the use cases are very, very broad. Typically, of course, we all the time talk about product use cases and these kinds of stuff. But let me give you something fun that I came across recently in one of our customers. So we work with a company, an amazing organization called Wahi. Wahi, for everybody who may want to go, wahi.com. They are an online real estate platform in Canada. And they have an amazingly smart product team led by a very smart CPO. And in Canada, selling and buying homes is regulated, meaning that even if you have a marketplace where you have listings and people can search, you have to go through a broker. And they have brokers of record at Wahi who essentially talk to buyers and talk to home sellers all the time. They also had in the product function a research capability. Never had they thought, or they had executed, on the potential of these broker calls. The only source of information that was going to product was either coming from research, which was, a certain level of activity, but not comparable to what the brokers were doing, or anecdotal. Oh, I bumped into the broker, he told me this really fun story, and that's so relevant, let's go build that, or let's go solve that problem. And I think when we started talking to Wahi and the product organization and the research organization and the leadership, what we realized is these broker calls are a gold mine of intelligence. Because what do you think the brokers are talking about? First and foremost, they are talking, very much in research, we talk about, hey, is this the right user? Well, the broker is talking to the home seller and home buyer. Do you think that's the right user? I mean, it is your user, not even the right user, right? It's like the person, it is actually the person, right, that they are talking to, which is super fun. And now they have, of course, but you would say, oh, but they may do like hundreds or thousands of broker calls who, if the broker is never going to sit there and analyze these and try to figure out what does the buyer want and what does the seller want and what are the trends and what are they saying and how does that contribute to decisions on copy on the website or our business model or our product decision. What they are doing now using technology and AI is really capturing this totality of these customer interactions. I mentioned broker calls. They're also doing like their Zendesk chats and these kinds of things where customers are chatting with them about their needs and their requirements, and bringing all of that data into the decision making across the organization. And I think that is just one example, Tony, combined to some of the stuff that you shared about the diversity that we are seeing now in terms of use cases that are being unlocked by the simple premise of let's bring the customer closer into the organization and the way we drive our business, make decisions, and the workflows that we are executing, right? Once it's almost like bringing the customer to the table. Once the customer is there, things change. Everything changes. Because I really deeply believe, and I've heard this from you, Toni, many, many times, humans, we care about other humans. I think engineering teams, business teams, leadership, they care, they empathize with other humans. But it is when the other human, the customer, is not at the table that everybody just keeps pushing their own slides and their own agenda. Because there's nobody else to think about. But once the customer is there, we're like, okay, forget it. I don't care about this business model, or I don't care about this feature or code. Tell me again, what is this? What does she want? Right? And that's amazing, because we kind of fall in love with the user, and then everything flows from there. The features we need to build become so obvious. The business model she wants becomes so obvious. Well, because she's there and we can ask. It's just as simple as that. So I think that is a really powerful thing in terms of, like, the diversity of use cases that are now coming into are being unlocked in the industry. And I think as you pointed out, given that AI has come into the market, contributing to the speed, but also contributing to the scale of the amount of data we can bring in. That's a huge accelerator of this whole thing. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience think of Bosch and are like, hey, I would like to know what's happening behind the curtains. How is Bosch leveraging AI? What are they doing with AI in UX? So, Toni, could you open the curtains a little bit for us and give us a sneak peek into how are you guys leveraging AI in the UX work that you're doing across the organization, and what kind of value and goals is that delivering?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for bringing this up. For us, AI. No, I start from the other side. We are doing products, on monthly basis, yearly basis, and so on. So we have products again in your home, in cars, and so on. And they all have different levels of, let's say, safety, security, regulations, and so on. So for us, it's out of utmost importance that we always deliver products and services with the best quality to the market. And this is what we are doing since years and years, very successful. Now, when it comes to AI, we, and as many other companies, realized we can somehow change the way we are working. So first of all, once again, it comes back to efficiency, gaining speed, and so on, but also when it comes to ideation. So, for example, if you would like to, or you have done your interview, you have gained some insights, and now typically we would come to the ideation part. Now AI tools can help you basically to come up with plenty of ideas you couldn't imagine before. You can even now create images of artificial prototypes, let's say like this, with AI tools, and you can show it to the users. And then in this, you can do within even hours. So you collect the insight, you create a prototype, you can even show it better. So it really goes back all to this this rapid iterative testing that you go out, you ask the users, you show them something back, you test, and so on. And within some hours or days, you can come to a maturity of your prototype, of your idea. Usually it took you, 3 or 4 months before. And this is something we are definitely looking at in various approaches at Bosch as well. But when I learned the first time about AI, or like Gen AI, like tools like ChatGPT and so on, so I was wondering, how will this pay out for Bosch, especially for our UX approaches? And then you guys, Moody and the rest of the team at Next, you surprised us once again, and you said, Toni, AI is now included in Next. Just try it out. So I was really curious. And when I realized the capability, so first of all, I was like, wow, this is interesting. And then I realized the potential about this. And when I introduced this to my colleagues, so what we can do now with an AI-powered tools in regard to user insight discovery, so far everybody whom I presented this was like, wow, why didn't you show this to me before? And I think this is something we have to. So first of all, if you want to convince somebody, there must be something, which speed up things, which gains personal benefits in, doing something faster, more efficiency, and so on. Because, if we always think about our internal customers and users, I believe they all would like to go home at 5 o'clock to their children's or do their hobbies. So what can I do? as responsible for entire Bosch to make their lives easier in regard to UX. And this is why I promote the tool Next with AI support very, very much in the organization. We have set up our own projects in the tool itself that I can convince my colleagues. We from the center department, we do the promotion for the features inside our organization. So I have monthly calls with Rick, for example, from Next to show all the features to the Bosch organization. Moody, you will also participate our UX convention to show the benefits of the tools and so on. I think we will come to this in a second. So this is, since I see the benefit of this, and since I would like to convince my internal users of the benefits of the tools, first of all, I need to be convinced, and this is something I'm totally convinced. And second of all, I have to show them the benefits right away. And this is something we can show them with the tool. And this is something great, you know, with some other tools, we have some difficulties to show them the benefits. But when I show them the use cases in Next with some other data, you know, they're really, really convinced about the tool, and we're picking up speed with the tool in the organization. Now more and more people are using it, and we are getting closer to the goal I told you before, Moody, that we would like to make our way of working more digitized, more faster, come closer to the decision making in regards to users and so on. And AI here is helping us a lot, because since we save time at one point, we can invest a little bit more time than at the other end. So for this decision making, and this is something which is now turning in your organization, and I really like this a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is really great. Do you have some, I don't know, other examples with AI in the markets?
Yeah, I mean, Toni, actually, just one thing as you were talking that came to mind. I think I recently saw like a funny picture on Instagram or LinkedIn, or I forget, where essentially, you know, there was a picture of a user or a person doing laundry, and then I think the tagline on top, it said something like, "I was hoping that AI would do laundry for me so that I could do drawing and more creative things. But now AI is doing the drawing and creative thing, and I'm still doing the laundry." So I think it was just a really funny thing. But you know, jokes aside, Toni, I think you really put your finger on the crux of the matter here. I think AI obviously is changing everything in the world. I mean, from the broadest things that are happening in our society and the world in general, and UX is no exception. And of course, when you think of AI, the first intent that people really go to is, oh well, it's an efficiency thing, it's a productivity thing. And look, I am like you, I give into that very easily. Because yes, absolutely, AI can be an efficiency and a productivity thing, because it will automate certain things, help you alleviate some pressure or manual work that was done yesterday. It can accelerate certain processes and workflows and so on. And you know what, Toni? That's fantastic, because it ultimately provides the justification, may that be from an enterprise level to invest in something like this, or from a human level to give it time. Hey, I get time back, so I give it some time, right? So, and both matter, because obviously an organization like Bosch may not make decisions exactly like an individual working at Bosch makes. Everybody is kind of like balancing their own priorities and pros and cons. So I think first, obviously, productivity is really, really like the initial step. And I always think about this also as in painkillers versus vitamins. This is a big painkiller. And that's an easy one. As you pointed out, we could sit down with somebody, 15 minutes, done. They see what we can unlock in terms of value. But more importantly, and I think, Toni, the time that we've worked together, we see that the benefits that come out of it, not in terms of productivity, but the way it transforms the way we work or think and operate, could be 100x bigger than that productivity gain that were delivered in the first 15 minutes. Right? Meaning in terms of how awesome is it that you can essentially drop in your customer conversations, never think about touching them, processing them, spending any time, productivity. But then tomorrow, when you're going to organize a workshop with your team, you can go there, select all the findings, and I ask the system to write the ideation brief for you. That's awesome. That did not exist, or it was done in very, ineffective, inefficient ways, right? Have somebody brainstorm for you. It's amazing. We didn't have this. If we wanted to brainstorm, we had to get together and do it ourselves. Whereas, now it can put us at 80% of the work that we would have done, and we're going to spend 100% of the time pushing the boundaries on the remaining 20% and doing so much more, right? I think it's fundamentally this general intelligence that is becoming available in UX. And I mean general intelligence in terms of understanding the customer and being able to act on what the customer wants, which is amazingly powerful. And I think that's where AI is, has started to transform UX, but this is certainly not going to be the end of it. Toni, one thing I wanted to end on, because actually we are coming up to the top of the time that we had allocated, was a UX convention. You touched on this a little bit earlier. We talked about the strategy of UX at Bosch. I understand that the UX convention, which is this annual event you put on once a year for the entire company globally, is a very big pillar of that. There must be some people from Bosch listening, so I just wanted to make sure that we cover this. Could you tell us a little bit more about the UX convention, what people who attend can expect, and how that will play out?
Yeah, basically it's a platform to bring together UX experts and UX friends. So first for Bosch internally, but we also have a lot of guests to bring in outside-in know-how to our organization. So we will exchange on user experience, customer experience, how can we improve decision-making, how can we use AI with UX together. So we have so many topics we will cover internally. You, Moody, you will basically show us your recent features of the tool next. How can we incorporate it and use it in our daily UX life? All the other divisions, they bring in great UX examples from our company. So it's really like, to get together and to share best practices when it comes to UX and customer experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Toni. Thank you so much for all the insights and all the intelligence you shared with us. It was an amazing moment to spend with you and take a sneak peek into how Bosch operates. I hope everybody enjoyed this, and I look forward to continuing the conversation in comments. Thank you, Toni, for your time again.
Thank you, Moody, for having me.
Take care.